What's up YouTube? Today I'm going to be showing you the definitive way to play Minecraft Beta 1.7.3. Now obviously definitive is very subjective, but for the sake of this video, our definition of definitive will be making the game as playable as possible on modern operating systems. As you may have guessed, this version is very old, so when you try run it on a newer computer system, it might have problems, it might crash a bit more, it might have this and that, it might be very problematic. So we're going to be trying to address as many of those issues as possible, making sure to minimize them. So yeah, we're also going to be resolving some crash problems, because there's a couple of things in the game that can cause you to crash, and we'll fix those. We're also going to be fixing multiplayer issues, so you might try to join a server and it doesn't let you join. And the last thing we're going to do, which is probably going to be pretty subjective and it's completely optional, and it's really up to you if you want to do it or not, but we're also going to be using a texture pack which brings back the older bricks and cobblestone texture. I think it's pretty universally agreed that the beta 1.6 textures for the cobblestone and bricks was much better than what they did in beta 1.7. It also just makes most builds just look nicer and work better together. Like the mossy cobblestone and regular cobblestone texture don't look correct next to each other anymore because of the change they made in beta 1.7. So yeah, we're going to be doing that, and I guess we'll start the video now. Now, this tutorial will be for Linux, specifically Linux and Mint. However, you can follow along on Windows and macOS. However, I won't be providing any support for them, considering they are inferior operating systems. Anyway, so we're first going to need a launcher. Now, I would recommend Prism launcher, but any fork of MultiMC should really work. So, I would also recommend not, if you are on Linux, I would recommend not getting it from the software manager, mainly because, at least on Linux Mint, it only offers the Flatpak version, and we need a system-wide version for all the customization we're going to be doing. So to obtain this, we are going to go to the browser, and we just want to search up Prism Launcher. Now, obviously, like I said, just download whatever launcher you want that is based on MultiMC. We're going to download this. We don't want to download the Flatpak version, we want to download rather the app image or the portable version. Now I'm going to download the app image, however I would actually recommend using the portable version here. Okay, so now we want to open the path for where this file is, and we should just be able to launch it just like so. However, if that does not work, you can right click it, go over the properties, go to permissions, and make sure allow executing file as program is checkmarked just like so. And then you can try launch it again. And now we just want to go through this installation setup. Now I am British, so I'm going to be using the British English language. What's next? Feel free to change the icons and themes as you want. Now you have to add a Microsoft account. If you don't have a Microsoft account, let's just say you don't own the game, you can use other launchers that don't require this, that are based on MultiMC. However, just because I don't want to get this video taken down, I can't tell you what launchers those are. But just trust me, they're pretty easy to find. So, but if you do have a Microsoft account, I would recommend using it, mainly because Prism Launcher and MultiMC and similar forks are properly maintained and well trusted, and using a fork that just removes this requirement can either be outdated and or insecure. So I would just recommend going with the Prism launcher. So you want to add your Microsoft account, and I'm just going to quickly go through this and I'll see you guys in a moment. Okay, so now that I have Prism launcher all set up, as you can see I am now logged into my account. We're now going to start the setting up process of Minecraft Beta 1.7.3. Now for this tutorial, I'm actually going to be trying to use exclusively free and or open source software. And I mean free as in freedom and not as in price. So for example, this Prism launcher is free software because it's licensed under a copyleft license. Now, if you don't know what that means, don't worry. It probably doesn't matter to you. But to the people that it does matter to, you can thank me later. So we are first going to avoid downloading from the Mojang servers, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to add an instance. We're going to set it up for beta 1.7.3, but we're going to provide our own jar. So just to go to add instance. Now you can set a name for it. I'm just going to name it beta 1.7.3, just like so. I'm also going to change the icon. You can do that by clicking on the little grass block pixel art thing. And I'm going to change it to gold legacy. Obviously these two don't really matter. You can name it whatever you want. You can even change the icon to whatever you want. I'm also now going to untick the releases checkmark under the filter category and enable betas. Now I'm then going to type b1.7.3, just like so. And then I'm just going to press OK. Now you do not, and I repeat, you do not want to launch this. It's going to be quite a while until we launch this, so you just want to follow along and make sure you're doing everything correctly. You're now going to want to edit this instance, just like so. You want to go over to version. You then want to click on Minecraft. You then want to press change version. You then want to scroll all the way to the bottom and click this bottom one here. Make sure it's the very bottom. It should be 132211 RD 132211. You really want to make sure it's this old version. You then want to press OK. And then you want to move this up to the top, just like so. Now the reason we're doing this is because, like I said, I want this tutorial to be free and or open source software. Now, this version of Minecraft isn't free or open source software. However, it isn't obfuscated and it's also very small. So I feel like just to minimize the bloat and also to minimize the proprietary software we will be running, I just feel like using this version is better. Because we can't actually remove this, because we're going to be replacing this with a better version. As you can see, I can't remove it and I can't disable it. So yeah, just do that and make sure it is like that. Once you've done that, you then want to go to your browser and you want to go to the Omni Archive, which you should be able to find pretty easily. It is omniarchive.uk. You then want to go over to downloads. Also, this link will be in the description alongside other files that we will be downloading throughout the video. You then want to scroll down and press download client under beta. And in here, if you scroll down a little bit further, you should see beta or b1.7, oh, wrong one. You want to make sure you download beta or b1.7.3.jar. I'm going to click on this, just like so. And I can now minimize this. We are now going to press replace Minecraft jar. Make sure it's not add to Minecraft jar. We want to replace it. Just like so, click on that. I'm now going to go over to where I downloaded it, which is in my downloads directory. I'm going to click on it and select. And now it should be here. We want to keep it under the OWJGL2 entry. So just like that. Now we are still not ready to launch this. This should, in theory, launch this entry. However, we have one more thing to do. We do not want to download anything from the Mojang servers. So we are actually going to be installing something that will not only fix problems, but also redirect the downloads to proper files that we want to download. So again, we want to go up to the browser, and then we then want to search legacy fix. And it should be the top one. It should be on a GitHub account called Betacraft UK. And it should be called legacy fix. If we scroll down, it should look something like this. Now we then want to go down and press on one of these tutorial ones. I'm on Prism, so I'm going to go to Prism. And we then just want to click on this here text. It should be blue. It should be underlined. We want to click on it. And we should get this artifacts.zip. We just want to wait for this to quickly download, just like so. We then want to go to where it downloaded and then just simply extract it. And we should get this legacy fix with a number at the end of .jar. Now that number might change in the future. It really depends on how much progress the legacy fix project develops. So that doesn't really matter. Just make sure it says legacyfix.jar, not artifacts.zip. It's very important you make sure it's extracted. You then want to press add agents in the Prism launcher or whatever launcher you're using. And you then want to add the legacyfix.jar file to it, just like so. Now we should be ready to go. Now if I just close this, minimize this, and try launch the game now. As you can see, the game has successfully launched. It is Minecraft Beta 1.7.3, it should say in the top left corner. And if we go back to the launcher, you can see when I highlight over the instance in the bottom left, it says Minecraft RD 132211. that means that the launcher thinks that we're launching this like ancient version of Minecraft. However, because we redirected it to the Omni archive version of beta 1.7.3, we can be almost 100% confident that this is definitely running the Omni archive version, because Prism Launcher is assuming it's the old Ruby Dung version. Now, to tell that the Legacy Fix project has worked, there are two ways to ensure that Legacy Fix has 100% worked, and you need to make sure that both of these indicators are true. So that the first indicator is that there should be this quit game button. If you see this, that's a good sign. That means Legacy Fix is very likely installed. However, if you don't see that, that's a big red flag, and you maybe want to check, go back in the video, make sure you've installed it properly, or maybe follow the written guide if you're still struggling. However, just because this is here, it does not mean Legacy Fix is properly configured and set up and ready to go. To be 100% confident that Legacy Fix is ready, you need to have this, and you also need to make sure that your Minecraft skin is loaded. So you can very easily do that by just creating a new world, pressing E on the keyboard, and you should see your skin. And if you don't see your skin, as you can see, I'm a Minecraft Steve, that means Legacy Fix is not properly installed. The skin not loading simply means that you're just on the wrong Java version, so it's very easy to fix. All you have to do is you just close out of the game, quit game, go over to edit, make sure you've clicked on the beta instance, click edit, settings, Java, you then want to press on open Java downloader. I would then recommend downloading from the Azure Zulo category here. I probably butchered that. You then want to download the latest one. The latest one at the time of recording is 8.0.482. That number is likely going to be increased by the time you're seeing this, or if you're watching far in the future. Just make sure you download the latest one. It should start with an 8 though. Make sure it is an 8 because we need Java 8, because this is what this is. As you can see, it's Java 8. So we then just want to click on download, and this will start downloading the correct Java version. Now once you've done that, you then just want to click on detect, and you'll see these two versions. You'll probably see a star next to this one. However, that does not mean it is the recommended one. As you can see, it says recommended, but it actually isn't. We want to use the latest one, which is 482 at the time of recording. So I'm just going to press OK. We can then close out of this, and then we can try and launch again. Now you just want to start your world up again, or make a new one, whatever you want to do. As you can see, my Minecraft skin has loaded. Now, this isn't actually a bad way to play the game. If you just want to stop here, this is a pretty good way to play Minecraft beta 1.7.3. However, there can be even more improvements that we can make. There are 3 major problems which I think should be addressed that Legacy Fix doesn't solve. So the first problem is the frame rate. The way these older versions of Minecraft work is that the more frames you have, the more computing power it uses. So if you have like a 60 Hz monitor, the game can still run at like 600 frames per second, and it will still use a lot of power to make sure that those 600 frames are being computed. And there are like easy bad solutions to fixing it. You can go into options and change this performance onto balanced or onto power saver. However, the problem with that is these don't properly limit your frame rate. For example, power saver just limits it to like 40 frames. And I believe balanced is like 140 or something like that. So you're still getting more frames that you don't really need rendered, that are just being rendered. There's also another problem with mutated stone slabs causing the game to crash. Now, if you don't know what this is, basically there is a glitch in the game where you can obtain these weird looking stone slab blocks. I believe they're in modern Minecraft as an actual full block now. The only problem with this block in this version is that when you obtain it and you hover over it in the inventory like this, like it says here, it will actually crash the game. Now this block can look very nice, and it's commonly used in servers, and it can also be used in your own build in single player if you really want it. So having it not crash your game when you hover over it just to use it is very beneficial. So we'll be using a mod that fixes that. And the last thing we'll be fixing is applying those old textures that I was talking about in the intro, which is just a very simple texture pack that we can download. So let's start with the frame rate. So let's close out of this game. Save and quit. Quit game. Now, you want to edit this instance here. And if you go over the settings and then go to tweaks, you want to enable this performance tab here. Now, if you don't have Mango HUD installed, it will likely be grayed out here. Installing it is very easy though. All you have to do is go to your browser, search Mango HUD, go over to the GitHub. It should be by this flightless Mango user. We can then just go over the download releases and download this latest one here. And then when we extract it, and then open up Mango HUD, we should see this sh file here. All we're going to do, we're just going to open up a terminal, make sure we're in the right path. As you can see, this is in the Mango HUD path that I just opened up. If you can't get here though, you can always just use the cd command to go to where it is located, just like so. And you can do ls and make sure that you see this sh command here. So you then just want to do /mango HUD, and you can press tab, and then you just want to pass through the install argument, just like so. It might ask for your password, just type in your password, and it should just be installed just like that. Now we can close out of this, we don't need those no more. And you'll probably notice it's still grayed out. That's because we need to relaunch. And now if we go to edit, settings, tweaks, we can now see that Mango HUD is now available. So we just want to make sure that it is enabled. Now if we go over to launch, we should now see that the HUD is now visible. And as you can see, that is now tracking how many frames I'm getting. I'm obviously getting quite a lot of high frame rate in the main menu, but when I go into game, that does begin to tank because I'm using a virtual machine, so I'm going to be getting quite a low frame rate. So in this example, this issue actually doesn't really apply to me because I'm not getting a stable frame rate anyway, but I'm assuming you're playing this on a computer that has more resources than this virtual machine has allocated. So now that we've got the HUD working, we're now going to be editing the Mango HUD config to limit the frame rate and also disable this UI because you likely don't want to be seeing it every time you play Minecraft. So you just want to save and quit the title and quit the game. Now you want to go to your file explorer again. You then want to go to home and you want to show your hidden files. You can do this by right clicking and show hidden files here, or you can press Ctrl H on your keyboard, at least for the default file explorer that Cinnamon installs, at least on Linux Mint. Once we're in here, we then want to go to config, the .config directory, and then we want to go over to Mango HUD. You'll probably notice that there's nothing in here. That's because we need to download the config file from the Mango HUD GitHub. Now if we just scroll down here until we see this HUD configuration, we want to press this get a copy from here. It should be blue and underlined. You should then get something like this. We can then just right click, save page as, and then take this over to our Mango HUD directory in the config. Now I'm going to show my hidden files in this little window. Again, you can press Ctrl H or right click, and then go to config, Mango HUD, and just save this here. And that's a pretty small file, so that should just be pretty easy. Now you then want to open up this config file. Now this might look intimidating, but it's really simple. All we have to do is we first want to hide the config. So to do that, we see this preset equals -1. We're going to change this to preset equals 0. Make sure you remove the hashtag at the start as well, otherwise this will not work. And now we can go up here and change this FPS limit. Again, we want to remove the hashtag, and we want to change this to the desired frame rate. Now, my refresh rate on this monitor is actually 60, as I assume is a lot of you guys's as well. However, you can change this to whatever you want. However, I should note that for some reason, limited frame rate on these older versions of Minecraft is actually a little bit weird. For some reason, if you limit it to just like the bang on value of what your refresh rate is, for example, mine is 60, this will actually cause problems because the game might run slower and also the frame rate will be choppier. Now, my hacky solution was to add free onto whatever value you have. So, for example, my refresh rate is 60, so I should change it to 63. However, because I'm a weirdo, I like rounding it up to 65. Because I notice that 63 can sometimes still be a little bit choppy. I would say that's like the sweet spot though for avoiding all most of the problems. However, I like to just add 5 just to be safe. So let's say you have 128 hertz. You would want to change it to 125. So just add 5 onto whatever your hertz is. Now, because this virtual machine actually struggles to get to 60 frames per second, I'm actually going to be changing it to 15 frames per second. And the reason I'm doing that is just to kind of show you, because you saw that the frame rate was about 30 or so. This should make it very, very choppy and very obviously running at a lower frame rate. I'll even open up the F3 menu to be sure that it's definitely running at 15 frames per second. Now, you can just save this file, and you should just be able to launch the game. So I'm just going to press the launch. And as you can see, I don't have that HUD anymore, and I can already tell that this text here is running at a lower frame rate. So I'm just going to go into game. Now this will actually take longer for me because when you do limit the frame rate, it does slow down a lot of things in this game. So as you can see, I'm now in game. If I press the F3 menu now, you can see that it says my frame rate is 15. Now I should note that when you do limit your frame rate, this actually does cause Minecraft to load worlds slower and also load chunks slower. However, I think this is a nice trade-off compared to using more computing power than necessary. Feel free to like make it higher than whatever your refresh rate is. It's just nicer to have lower frame rate than like 600 frames per second that Minecraft tries to force down on you. So you can just, if you have like 60 hertz, you can change it to like 90 just to get a little bit more faster chunk loading and whatnot. Just find a sweet spot that works for you, and hopefully that will save some of those electricity bills. Okay, so now we are going to be installing the mod that fixes the slab crashing issue. Now I did just want to kind of showcase what I was talking about here with the slabs crashing. So as you can see, if I place down 2 cobblestone slabs here, and place a torch, a redstone torch here, it creates this full stone slab block. Now if I mine this, it gives me these 2 items. Now, if I were to hover over those, it would crash my game. There are workarounds for it, as you can see. If I make 2 dirts here, let's say I want to put the slabs here, I can take this dirt, pick this up and place it there, and there you go. Now I got the slabs there. But as you can see, if I do it normally, the game just crashes. So I'm going to be showing you how to fix that. Okay, so this slab fix mod is really easy to install. All you have to do is open a Prism launcher, go over to edit, go over to version, and all you want to do is add to minecraft.jar, go over to downloads, and you want to download this file that I will have linked in the description. It is made by me. The mod actually is proprietary. I know I was talking about, wanted to provide free and or open source software for you guys. However, because this is modifying Minecraft files, I can't actually distribute it under an open source license. However, it is really, really easy to decompile. Just look up like a basic guide on how to decompile Java and you should be able to figure out exactly what it's doing. So, sorry that it's not open source. Consider it public domain. I'm just gonna not really give a shit if anyone ever does anything with it, as long as it's not illegal, I suppose. That's the unofficial license I'm going to put on this. Do whatever you want with it. I don't care. Decompile it. Redistribute it. Take credit for it. I don't care. Do whatever you want with it. It's not mine anymore. I don't know. But yeah, so all we want to do, just add open to that. And that should be it. Now, it should be at the bottom here. And now if I press launch, now I go to single player. Click on my new world and play it. Now, when I hover over the item, it should just say stone. Just like so. Now I can properly navigate it through my inventory without having to do any sort of item movement stuff, right? So obviously I can make more of these, mine them, and they will act just like normal. It doesn't matter how many I have, it will always say this. Now there actually are quite a few of these mods that fix this slab issue. However, my approach is much more properly handled because most of these mods just like assign this item a name. However, I actually decided to find the root of the problem and fixed it by assigning any sort of null or incorrect value the ID of 1, which is stone, which is why it's just called stone and not like stone slab, something like that. This will also actually fix mods that have other corruption issues. So personally, I'd recommend using my version of the mod, but feel free to use whatever you want. Now the last thing we're going to do is assign the old cobblestone texture to this new one, as well as the bricks, but I can't be asked to go out and find bricks, so let's just go and do that real quick. So what we want to do, just want to quit out of the game again. This will be the last time we have to do this. Now what you want to do, you want to go over to the folder of your instance, just like so. This should open this up. You want to go into Minecraft, and you want to go over the texture packs. Now what you want to do in here is you want to download my texture pack that's in the description, and you just want to pull it into this directory. So it's called b1.7 cobblestone and brick.zip. You just want to copy this or cut it and paste it in here. And now when you launch the game, go over to mods and texture packs, you should see this new entry. You just want to click on it, press done, go back to single player, and try it out. And as you can see, that is the old cobblestone texture. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I did also actually just want to mention that that legacy fix does work for older versions, like earlier beta versions, even alpha, even into in-dev, classic, and even pre-classic. So that's a very good mod for fixing tons of issues, especially if you are on Linux Wayland, because I've noticed a lot of issues playing these older versions of Minecraft on Wayland, and Legacy Fix has been very useful for patching those problems. However, the slab fix and texture pack that I provided, those are specifically made for beta 1.7.3. So if you have any other issues using those on older versions, which you really shouldn't be using those on older versions anyway, because like I said, they're made for beta 1.7.3. I'm not going to provide help, but if you want to like decompile them and backport it to like earlier versions or so, feel free to do so. Anyway, if you liked this video, leave a like, dislike it if you dislike it. If you want more videos like this, subscribe to the channel, and make sure to leave a comment as well, because that's always helpful. So that would be it. See ya.